Hello all, welcome to TESPERT MBA Prep. So in the previous session, we started LRDI for CAT and we discussed a few sets on linear arrangement. So this is the session 2 and kindly check out the description below. I have shared you a link, just click on the link and after signing up, you will find a course which is named as LRDI practice course. So where I will be giving you assignments of each and every topic of LRDI, so that after watching the session and after solving the sets that are involved in the session, you just go back to that course and practice more and more sets that are provided in that course. Alright, so in that way you can build the entire logic which is necessary for CAT LRDI. Alright, still we have sufficient amount of time to score a great percentile in LRDI CAT. So let us start the session now. So as always, just pause the video and try the set by yourself. Hope you solved it. Let us see. 7 friends A to G are sitting in a row facing the same direction. So same direction, we can assume any direction. Let us assume north direction. So A to 7 friends are sitting towards the north direction and the additional information is also given. If the first, so we have 5 statements. What is the first one? If B and D interchange their places, each of them will exactly get new neighbor. Okay, so I will explain you the meaning of the first statement just for the sake of your learning and for better understanding. Okay, so as it is given 7 friends, let us take 7 places here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So what is the meaning of the first statement? If B and D interchange their places, each of them will exactly get new neighbor. Okay, we have many cases here because see, if I place B here, let me name these places 1, 2, 3, 7. If I place B at position number 2 and if I place D at position number 3, okay, then what happens is, and if I interchange, so before interchanging, the guy who is at 1, right, at first position will be the neighbor of B, and the guy who is at position number 4 will be the neighbor of D. Okay, so when I interchange the positions of B and D, alright, so B is going to the third one and D is going to the second position. Now the new neighbor of D will be 1 and the new neighbor of B will be 4. Alright, of course B and D are mutual neighbors, they are common neighbors. Okay, but the new neighbors will be 1 and 4 respectively after interchanging. So exactly one new neighbor, right? So B and D is possible. B and D with no gap. So B and D with no gap between them is a possible case where they will be getting exactly a new neighbor if B and D are interchanged. Let us find out, is there any other case possible? Let us find out. So what if I place B at an extreme end? If I place B at 1 and if I place D here, what happens is D is the neighbor of B. D is the neighbor of B and the guy who is at 3, position number 3 will be neighbor of D. However, if we just interchange these positions, now D will be here and B will be here. Now the new neighbor of B is 3. Okay, what about the new neighbor of D? D won't be getting any new neighbor. B was the new neighbor and B is the new neighbor here also. Alright, so for B there is a new neighbor, but for D there is no new neighbor. Hence this the first statement is getting violated. So BD with no gap is possible, but BD with no gap and B at one of the extreme ends is not possible case, right, to get a new neighbor for both of them. Alright, let us see some other cases. See, why I am explaining you all the cases is this is not necessary to solve this particular set, but you have to build uh, the logic, and you have to look at the point, any specific point, if it is necessary from different perspectives. So that is the reason why I'm just explaining you all the cases. What if there is a gap between B and D? If I place B at 2 and D at 4, and if I interchange the positions, now it is becoming D and B. Okay. Of course, the guy who is here at 3 is the common neighbor for B and D, but we want exactly a new neighbor. Now B is going to 4 and D is coming to 2. Now the new neighbor of B is 5, whereas the new neighbor of D is 1. So they are getting exactly one new neighbor. So this case is also possible. So B and D with a gap, with one gap. Alright. So what if I place B at the extreme end with a gap left? Let us find out. So if I place B at 1 and D at 3, alright. Now D has got, of course, 2. The guy who is sitting at 2 is a common neighbor for B and D, and the neighbor of D is 4. If I interchange the position, B is coming here, D is going here, and the new neighbor of B is 4, but there is no new neighbor for D, right? Since 2 is the common neighbor, and it was the neighbor before, and it is the neighbor now as well. So D is not getting any new neighbor. So B and D with a gap is possible, but B, if it is at any of the extreme ends, is not possible. Alright. B, if it is at an extreme end, it is never possible to get a new neighbor exactly, even if the places are interchanged. Alright. What if we increase the number of places between B and D? For instance, if I place B here, and if I increase one more place between B and D, and if I place D at 5, what happens is B, after interchanging the positions, B will be going there. Alright, D will be coming here. Now B has got 2 new neighbors, which are 4 and 6. Now D has got 2 more new neighbors, which are 1 and 3. But we want exactly a new neighbor, which means exactly one new neighbor. We don't want 2, we want only one new neighbor. Hence, if we keep on increasing the spaces between B and D, what happens is new neighbors will be increasing, right? It is directly proportional. But as we want only one new neighbor, the maximum cases that are possible are B and D with no gap, and B or D, any one of them shouldn't be at extreme ends, and B and D with one gap, and B and D shouldn't be at extreme ends. So these are the only 2 cases possible. So let us so please remember, because these 2 points will help us to solve the set. Let me write it here, because I will erase them. So B and D with no gap is possible, and with one gap is also possible. So after understanding statement number 1, which statement is the best to start with, to start the set? See, if we consider the third statement, right? So E is at the extreme and extreme right end, and D is to the left of F. See, this is a direct statement, because we can it is directly given, right? So E is at the extreme right end. Since these all are facing north direction, the right one will be here, the left side will be here, right? E is at extreme right end, which means E is at 7, right? E is at 7. D is to the right of F, which means D is to the right of F. As it is not given as immediately right, okay, immediate right, so it can be D coming after, immediately after F, or it can also be one gap, or it can also be a two gap, right? D is right to F, but not immediate right. It can be immediate, it cannot be, okay? It may be, may not be. So let us remember this. Now in the statement number 2, we have C is 3 places away to the left of F, right? C is 3 places away to the left of F, which means if C is here, okay, let us start with F. If F is here, C is 3 places away. This is the first, this is the second place, and this is the third place. So C should be here, first, second and third. Don't count from F. F is not at the first. From F you have to count, right? This is the first left, this is the second left, and this is the third left. Alright. Okay. So we understood this. We understood this case. And what is the fourth one? B and D are not adjacent to each other. Alright. So B and D are not adjacent to each other. C is to the left of both A and G. Alright. So what we can do is we will try to adjust this case and this case, these two, in this arrangement, and let us see whether we will get the arrangement correct or not. Let us see. Now if you observe, we have D is to the right of F, which means to the right of F there must be at least one space left so that we can fill D, which means if I place F here, right, I cannot place F at the 6th position because I have to place D. If I place F at 6th position, then where should I place D? D should be right to F. So at least one position must be vacant to the right of F. So the minimum possible case is placing F at position number 5. Alright. So this is case 1, and in this case D will be here, D must be here. Alright. And there must be 2 spaces gap between C and F. Alright. So let us take F is already here, so there are 2 spaces left, and C must be here. C must be here. So this is case 1. And what about case 2? Let me write case 2 here. So E is fixed as always. E is at the extreme right end. But what happens is, in the first case we placed F at 5, but now we are placing F at 4 because we do not know whether D is immediate right to F or D is just right to F. So if F is here and we have 2 spaces left between C and F, so just leave 2 spaces and C will come here. C will be at the first position. Alright. Then what about D? D can be either at 5th position or at 6th position. Right. But here B and D are not adjacent to each other, and we must also consider this case, the first statement. We shouldn't violate the first statement. If B and D are interchanged, right, if the positions of B and D are interchanged, then they have to get exactly one new neighbor. In the first point where I explained you, the first point, we learned that B and D with no gap is possible if it is arranged, and if we interchange the position, then they will be getting exactly one neighbor. Or B and D with a space is also possible, right? But here in the 4th position and in the 4th point, it is given that B and D are not adjacent to each other, which means B and D, B shouldn't be immediately after D, and D also shouldn't be immediately after B. So DB and BD with no gap is not possible. This is not a possible case because in this case we are violating the 4th statement. B and D are not adjacent to each other, which means B and D should never be a pair. Alright. So there must be at least one gap between D and B. Alright. So that there must be only one gap, because if there is more than 2 gaps, we will be getting more than 2 neighbors for each of them after interchanging the positions. But we have to get only exactly one new neighbor and for getting only one new neighbor, the only two possible cases are BD with no gap and BD with one single gap. But BD with no gap is not possible because B and D, according to fourth statement, B and D are not adjacent to each other. So they shouldn't be adjacent to each other, which means BD with no gap is ruled out. So between B and D there must be one gap. Alright, there must be one gap. So we have to place D here and we have to place B here, because if I increase the space between B and D to one more extent, then there will be more than two neighbors. Alright, so in this case, even if I interchange the positions of B and D, B will go to the fifth position and D will come to the third position, and 2 will be the new neighbor of D and 6 will be the new neighbor of B. So they will be getting exactly one new neighbor. Alright, so F and D is coming to the right of F, this is taken care of, and C is 3 places away from F, this case is also taken care of. So these two are the cases, right? And what is the fifth statement? C is to the left of both A and G. So in the first case, C, okay, we didn't just B here, so B will come here in the first case. So what about the fifth statement? C is to the left of both A and G. So in the first case, we have to still adjust A and G, which means A can come here or G can come here. If A comes here, G will come here, and A would come here if G comes here. Alright. And what about case 2? A or G or G or A? Alright. So C is to the left of both A and G. In the first case, C is left to either G or A, because there is still one person is left behind C. Alright. If G comes here and if A comes here, what happens is C will be to the left of G, but C must be the extreme left, because according to fifth statement, C is to the left of both A and G, which means A and G must be right of C. Alright, so the first case is absolutely ruled out. I hope you understood the reason, because C is at position number 2 and the neighbors of C are A and G, which is violating the fifth condition. Whereas in the second case, what happens is both A and G are at position number 2 and 6, which means they are to the right of C, which also means C is to the left of both A and G, which is satisfying the fifth statement. Alright, so this is the solution, and kindly never fix the place, right? Never fix this place. Never fix it like this. A is here, G is here, or G is here, A is here. Don't take it for granted. Just leave it like this, because in the options, while solving the set, in the options, there will be an option like cannot be determined, right? Who is sitting at the second position? For instance, if there is a question like this, who is sitting at the second position, then the correct answer is cannot be determined, since we cannot determine whether A is sitting or G is sitting at the second position. Okay, just leave it like that. Let us move to the second set. Just pause it and try it on your own. Okay, hope you solved this. Okay, so we have 10 statements. What is given? There are 3 houses on each side of the road. Alright, and these 6 houses are labeled as P, Q, R, S, T and U, and the houses are of different colors. There are 6 colors given, and there is one more variant, which is the houses are of different heights. Alright, so heights, colors, and the names of the houses. Alright, so 3 are there. And we also have some facts. So T, the tallest house, I am reading the fifth statement. T, the tallest house, is exactly opposite to the red colored house. So what we can do is, T is the tallest house, and this is exactly opposite to the house which is red in color. So this is opposite to the house which is red. The shortest house is exactly opposite to the green colored house. Okay. U, the orange colored house, is located between P and S. Yes. So this is the statement where we can start. This is the best statement, I think, where we can start this set, start solving the set easily. So U, the orange colored house, is located between P and S, which means U, P and S, these three must be on the same side. There are 6 houses, and on each side there are 3 houses, which means 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. Alright. Here it is given U is located between P and S. Alright. So U is located between P and S. It can also be like this. It can also be like this. See, U is here, anyway it is fixed. It can also be S and P. Both are same cases. Alright. So we have 2 cases, case 1 and case 2. The first one is PUS and the second one is SUP. Alright, and it is given the U is an orange colored house. Let us name it as orange. Now, if we again consider the fifth statement, which is T, the tallest house, is exactly opposite to the red colored house, which means T must be coming at any of the 3 places here, and T is opposite to a red colored house. So T cannot come here because in this case T is opposite to an orange colored house, which is not possible, right? So either P is a red colored house or S is a red colored house, right? Either P is a red colored house or S is a red colored house. So let us assume like this. So in the first case, anyways, T is the tallest house, and in the first case P, let us assume P to be red colored house, and in the second case let us assume S to be a red colored house. So are the yellow colored house is exactly opposite to P? See, in the 8th statement it is given that R, which is the yellow colored house, is exactly opposite to P. If R is opposite to P, then T cannot be opposite to P, right? Which means case 1 is ruled out absolutely. Case 1 is ruled out absolutely. R is opposite to P, which means R will come here, which is opposite to P. And what is the color of R? R is yellow colored house. R is yellow colored house. Alright, let me erase this case number 1. Alright, so still which one is remaining? P, Q. Yeah, Q is remaining. So Q is filled here. Q is filled here. Okay. And in the 10th statement, okay, in the 9th statement it is given that Q, the green colored house, is exactly opposite to U. So Q is here. It is opposite to U by default, and Q, the green colored house. So Q, the color of Q is green. Alright. In the 10th statement it is given that P, the white colored house. P is white colored house, and the only one color which is remaining is, what is the color remaining? Blue, I think. Yeah, blue is remaining. So T must take blue color. So the arrangement is sorted out, the colors are sorted out. The only thing is we have to consider heights. Now coming to heights, we know T is the tallest one. T is the tallest house. So T will be here. And if you observe the 6th statement, the shortest house is exactly opposite to the green colored house. Which color is green? Q is green. So the shortest house is exactly opposite to the green colored house, which means U is the shortest. Okay, U is the shortest. T is the tallest, U is the shortest. And what is the 10th statement? P, the white colored house, is taller than R but shorter than S and Q. Alright, so P is taller than R. So P is taller than R but shorter than S and Q. Shorter than S and Q. So which means we have two cases. The first one is TSQPR, alright, or it can also be TQSPRU. Hope you understood. U is the shortest, T is the tallest, but P is taller than R. P is taller than R but shorter than S and Q. So P is shorter than S and Q, so it can be QSP or it can also be SQP. Anything, we can get anything, right? It can be anything. So this is done. So we are done with this set. Hope you understood this. Let's move on to the third set. Okay, just pause the video and try it on your own. Okay, hope you got the set right. Okay, so what is given? A, B, C, D, E and F. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 are there. There is a group of 6 friends. 2 are housewives, 1 is a professor, 1 engineer, 1 accountant, 1 lawyer. Okay, so there are only 2 married couples in the group. The lawyer is married to D, who is a housewife. Alright. So let us consider the straightforward statements first. See, here it is given that the lawyer is married to D, who is a housewife. Here who refers to D, not the lawyer. Alright, who refers to the guy who is to the immediate left of who, which means to D. Who refers to D? That I explained you in the first video. So lawyer is married to, see, this into refers to marriage. Alright, of course this is my notation. Lawyer is married to D, alright, and it is given that D is a housewife. So D is a housewife, which means D is a feminine gender, she is a female, and lawyer is a male. Okay, and what is one more straightforward statement? No women in the group is either an engineer or an accountant. C, the accountant is married to F. Okay, so C, the accountant is married to F, who is a professor. Alright, so C is married to F. C is an accountant. Okay, C is an accountant and F is a professor. F is a professor. And if we consider the previous statement, no woman in the group is either an engineer or an accountant. So women cannot be an accountant. So C shouldn't be a woman, C is a male. If C is male, F is a female. Hope you understood. An accountant, a female cannot be an accountant, it is given. So a male must be the accountant and the professor must be F, who is a female. Now it is given that A is married to a housewife. See, previously it is given that there are only 2 married couples, which means these 2 are the only 2 married couples. And now it is given that A is married to a housewife. So here lawyer is married to a housewife, which means lawyer must be A. Lawyer must be A. Alright. And who are the remaining? We have, out of 6, we have A, D, C and F. So the remaining are E and B. Here it is given that E is not a housewife. E is not a housewife, which means B must be a housewife. B must be a housewife, and the only profession which is left is engineer, right? Nobody is an engineer, right, except E. So E must be an engineer. Alright, and if we just get back to the statement which is mentioned previously, no woman in the group is either an engineer or an accountant, which means E shouldn't be a woman. E is a male. E is a male. If E is a male, B is a female. Of course, B is a housewife. Alright, so this is the final solution. Hope you understood. Let's move to the next set. Just pause the video and just try it on your own. Okay, hope you solved this. So what is given? What are the facts given? So there are 6 boys, right, from B1 to B6, and there are 6 girls from G1 to G6. Boys are sitting on row 1 and girls are in row 2. Okay, and what is still given? Each person in one row is facing exactly one person in another row, which means they are opposite to each other, right? It is indirectly given that they are opposite to each other. So let us take 6 and 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if all the girls are here, G1 to G6, and if all the boys are here, B1 to B6, which means boys are facing the north direction, girls are facing the south direction, right? Boys are facing north and girls are facing the south direction. So let me ask you one question. Which statement is the best one to start? Among all the 5 statements, which one is the best one to start, so that we can just put it immediately, we can mark it immediately? It is statement number 1, because if you consider statement number 5, what happens? B6 is to the left of B2. Okay, B6 is to the left of B2. It can be immediate left or it cannot be it may not be immediate left, but where should I first place this B6? So this is not a direct statement. Of course it provides some information. So if we consider, whereas if we consider statement number 1, B5 is sitting at the extreme end. Sorry, this is E and D. Okay, so B5 is sitting at the extreme end of a bench and is to the immediate right of B3. This is a straightforward statement, because B must be coming here. B5 is sitting at the extreme end and is to the immediate right of B3. Okay, it is to the immediate right of B3. So if B3 is here, B5 must be here, because if I place B5 here and B3 here, now B5 is to the left of B3, not to the right of B3, left of B3. So it is not possible. It is given, it must be immediate right? So B5 must be to the extreme left, extreme right, not extreme left. So we have taken care of the first statement. Now let us consider okay, what is the second one? Exactly one among G3 and G4. So we are not yet started filling out the girls. So we started boys. So let us take the statement which has some information about boys. So B1 is to the left of B4 and is opposite to G2 and is not sitting at any of the ends. Okay, so B1 is to the left of B4. Alright, B1 is to the left of B4. So B1 is to the left of B4. Okay, so I cannot place B1 here. I cannot place B1 here, because if I place B1, then where should I place B4? So B1 shouldn't be placed here. B1 comes either here, or it can also be here. So I cannot place B1 here, right? I cannot place B1 here, because if I place B1 here, then where should I place B4? B4 must be to the right of B1. Of course it may not be immediate right, but it is to the right of B1. Hence B1 cannot be placed here. B1 can be placed here or here, and I cannot place B1 here as well, because just read the statement. B1 is to the left of B4 and is opposite to G2 and is not sitting at any of the ends. B1 cannot sit at this end B1 can also not sit at this end. Either B1 must be here or here. Alright. And in the fourth statement it is given that B2 who is to the immediate right of B4. B4 is to the right of B1, but B2 is to the right of B4, immediate right, which means B2 comes immediately after B4, which means if I place B1 here, I have to place B4 here, and where should I place B2? So B1 shouldn't come here as well. The only possible case for B1 is this. If B1 is here, B4 will be here and B2 must be here. Hope you understood this. And the only arrangement which is left as far as boys is concerned is B6. Okay, which will take the extreme left end. Now let us fill girls. Now in the fourth statement it is in third statement it is given that B1 is to the left of B4 and is opposite to G2, which means B1 is to the left of B4. Okay, B1 is also opposite to G2, which means G2 will come here. Alright. Now in the fourth statement it is given that G6 is to the immediate left of G4. G6 is to the immediate left of G4 and not opposite to B2. So G6 must be to the left of immediate left of G4. Okay, and G6 shouldn't be opposite to B2. B2 is here, so G6 shouldn't be here, right? G6 shouldn't be here, which means if G6 is here, G4 must be here because G6 is immediate left of G4. Since girls are facing the south direction, the left hand side of G4 will be this side, right? So G6 is to the immediate left of G4. This is first case, right? And one more case which is possible is G4 is here and G6 is here. This is also possible. See what is given, G6 shouldn't be opposite to B2. Here G4 is opposite to B2, not G6. So this case is also possible, right? Let us take this case as well. 1, 2. So we have taken both the cases. This is case 1 and this is case 2. Alright. Okay. Now, so what is given? B6 is to the left of B2. Okay, this is already sorted out. And the only statement that is left is second one. Exactly one among so exactly one between G3 and G4 is sitting at the end of a bench. Okay, exactly one between G3 and G4 is sitting at the end of the bench, and it is also given that G5 is sitting exactly between G3 and G6. See, G5 is sitting exactly between G3 and G6, which means, see, as it is given exactly one between G3 and G4 is sitting at one end of the bench, which means either G3 or G4 must sit, right? So in the first case, G6 is at one of the extreme ends, so the other extreme end must be G3, right? And G4 is already filled, so the remaining case between G3 and G4 is only G3, so G3 must be towards the extreme end, and G5 is sitting exactly between G3 and G6, which means I have to place G5 either here or either here. In both the cases, G5 is not going to be exactly between G3 and G6. Why? Because if I place G5 here, the spaces between G3 and G5 is 1, the spaces between G5 and G6 is 2, right, which is not equal. So it is not exactly in between. Of course it is between, but it is not exactly in between. Now if I place G5 here, right, if I place G5 here, then the spaces between G5 and G3 are 2 and the spaces between G5 and G6 are 1. So in this case also G5 is not exactly in between G3 and G6, which means the first case is absolutely ruled out. Alright. let us take the second case. This must work out. So what is given? G5 is exactly between G3 and G6. Okay, which means G6 is here. If I place G3 here, right, then G5 will be exactly in between, because between G5 and G3 there is only one place, and between G5 and G6 here also there is only one space, which means G5 is exactly in between G3 and G6, and the only one girl which is left is G1. Alright, so case 2 became our final arrangement. Hope you understood this. It is an easy set actually, but the only thing is we have to figure out one more case. Alright, hope you understood this. Let us move on to the fifth set. Okay, just pause the video and try. Okay, so what is given? PQRS. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 are seated in a straight line facing north direction. Of course, all are facing the north direction. P sits fourth to the left of V. V sits either sixth from the left or fourth from the right end. So let us draw 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what is given? V sits. Okay, P sits fourth to the left of V. But where should I place V? So it's not a direct statement. Let's move on to the next one. V sits either sixth from the left end or fourth from the right end of the line. Okay, so which means we shall consider one more case. We shall consider one more case. So in the first case, V sits either sixth from the left end of the line. Okay, in the first case we shall consider V sitting sixth from the left end of the line. So sixth from the left end. So this is the left end, this is the right end. Sixth from the left, which means here. V is here. Whereas in the second case, we shall consider V sitting fourth from the right end of the line. Fourth from the right. This is first, second, third, and fourth. Fourth is here on 5. Alright, on 5. Now, since we fixed V, let us get back to the first statement, which is P sits fourth to the left of V. P sits fourth to the left of V. So in the first case, P sits fourth to the left of V, which means this is the first left, second left, third left, fourth left. So P must be here. Okay. And in the second case, we have first left, second left, third left, fourth left. Okay. So P is at the extreme left, left hand. So here S sits second to the right of R. So S sits second to the right of R. This is the next statement. S sits second to the right of R, which means if R is here, S must be here, because S is second right to R. This is the first right and this is the second right. Let us mention this in a block, in a rectangle shape. Why? Because the places of R and S are not interchangeable, because if S and R are interchangeable, then R will be to the right of S if we interchange the positions, right? But according to the given condition, S sits second to the right of R, so we cannot change the positions. So this is fixed. If we get any case where we can interchange the positions, or there is an ambiguity in changing the positions, then we can mention those elements under an oval shape. If it is a fixed arrangement, we shall place it in a block. If it is interchangeable, the places are interchangeable, then we shall mention an oval. Alright, oval shape. Okay, so the places of R and S are fixed. And the next one is R is not an immediate neighbor of V. Okay, so R is not an immediate neighbor of V. So R shouldn't come here, R shouldn't come here, and in the second case R shouldn't come here and R shouldn't come here. And the next one is T and Q are immediate neighbors of each other, but neither T nor Q sits at extreme ends of the line. So neither T nor Q sits at extreme ends, which means T shouldn't be here, Q shouldn't be here, they must not be at extreme ends. So let us denote this at all the extreme ends. So T and Q shouldn't be at any of the extreme ends. Hope it's clear to you. T and Q are immediate neighbors. Okay, T and Q are immediate neighbors. Let us so it can be TQ, it can also be QT. So let us mention it under a oval. Okay, because the places of T and Q are interchangeable. It can be TQ, it can also be QT, but in the case of RS, it should be R space S. It cannot be S space R. So the places of R and S cannot be changed. Hence we mentioned it under a block. Okay. So what is the next one? Only one person sits between T and X. So there is one person sitting between T and X. So it can be Tx, it can also be Xt. So it is not specific. So let us mention it under an oval. And what is the next one? X doesn't sit at extreme end of the line. Okay, so X shouldn't come here, X shouldn't come here, it shouldn't come here, shouldn't come here. Okay, so with this, what we shall do is we shall adjust these three in the given arrangement, in the given two cases. So let us first fix R and S, because these two are very specific. So R and S, so between R and S there is one gap. So it can be the first case. If we adjust, we cannot place R here because R at the 7th position, because it is already given here. R is not an immediate neighbor of V. So R cannot be at 5, R cannot be at 7, R cannot be at 8, because if R is at 8, where should we fix this space and S? So R is not at 6, not at 2. R can be at 3. R can be at 3, right? If R is at 3, fourth place will be vacant and S will be at 5, right? S will be at 5. Now, what if we place R at first position? If R is at first position, then the vacant place will be P, right? And the third position will be vacant, so it will be filled with. That is the second case, right? A new case. So if we take it as case 0, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me write this Tx here. T. So P is here, S is here, V is here. Okay. So now R is at position number 1 dash, and S must be here at number 3. So we have three cases: case 0, case 1 and case 2. Okay. Now in case 2, where can be the positions of R and S? R cannot be at 4, R cannot be at 6, cannot be at 7, cannot be at 8, cannot be at 5. R can be at 2, R can be at 2. If R is at 2, S will be at 4. Alright, so there are no other cases where we can place R except at 2, at 3 and at 1. Alright, so these are the 3 maximum possible cases. So we fixed R and S. Now let us fix Tx and Tq. Let us fix these two. Now if we consider case 2, what happens is we cannot fix T at 8th position, right? So it must take either position number 7 or 6. Now if we fix t at 7th position, right, then where can we place x? Because after t and x, I mean between t and x, there is one vacant position. There should be one vacant position. So we cannot place t at position number 7. Alright, so t must be placed at 6th position. If t is placed at 6th position, there must be one vacant place to the right of t, which is 7, and x must be placed here, as x must be placed at 8th position. But according to this, x shouldn't take any extreme end, which means this second case is ruled out. Alright, see, as we denoted under an oval, it can be t dash x, or it can also be x dash t, because both are interchangeable. If we place x here instead of t at 6th position, and if we have to place t at 8th position, it is still not possible, because at the extreme end there shouldn't be t and there shouldn't be x as well. Because of this, case 2 is not possible at all. Okay, case 2 is not possible. Let me erase this. So we are left with only 2 cases. Now if we consider case number 1, okay, if we consider case number 1, where can we fix this t and x? And there must be one gap between t and x. Anyway, t cannot come at 8th position. Alright, and t cannot come at 4th position, because if t comes here, then okay, of course we will take 5th position as vacant. But where shall we fix this x? Right, so t must come at 7th position. If t comes at 7th position, where should we fix x? Because this one must be vacant, right? Or even if we fix the 7th position as x, so x dash and t, where should we fix t? This is the reason why the first case is also ruled out. Alright, because we cannot fix t and x. Alright, so first case is also ruled out. So the only case which is left is case 0. Let us see how can we fix this. See, in this case, what we can do is, if we arrange t at this position at 5, okay, what happens is, if we arrange t here, because 8 cannot take t, right, 8 cannot take t, 1 cannot take t, of course 1 is already fixed with r, and if we take t here at 4th position, then it will be dash, and x shouldn't be x can't be fixed, because v is taking 6th position. So the only possible case is 5. If we place t at 5, right, if we place t at 5, what we can do is t dash and x. So there must be one person between t and x, so that person is v, and x will be here at 7, because x cannot be at 8, because x shouldn't take the extreme end. Alright, since we know t and q must come together, if t is at 5, q must be at 4, right, and the only alphabet that is left is y. So y is at 8, y will take 8th position. So the final arrangement is this one: R, P, S, Q, T, V, X and Y. I hope you understood each and every case well. So just have a look at it, and we shall move on to the next set. I think this is the last set for this session. So just pause the video and just try it. Okay, hope you solved it. So here what is given? 8 friends, A to H. So 8 friends are sitting in a row facing the north direction, okay, but not necessarily in the same order. They resemble different branded shirts like Allen Solly, Raymond. So there are 8 brands. No two successive friends are sitting together according to the alphabetical order. Alright, so for instance, A doesn't sit with B, similarly B doesn't sit with C, and so on. See, A doesn't sit with B, so A, B do not form a pair. Alright, if A, B do not form a pair, then it also means that B, A shouldn't form a pair, because A, B and B, A are same together if we consider it together. In the at the same time, D and F, right, F and D, so these two do not form a pair. At the same time, G and H shouldn't form. So what is this means? See, what does this mean is two successive alphabets shouldn't come together. All right, this is very important, very crucial information while solving the set. This will become handy. So what is next one? Either D or, okay, so either D or B sits at extreme end of a row. So this is a statement, but this is not a straightforward statement. We cannot simply mark it, right? We cannot simply arrange it. So first let us take 8 spaces, as there are 8 friends, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. Okay, so if we move on to the next statement, A likes Allen Solly, okay, and sits second from the left end of the row, second from the left. So since all these 8 friends are facing north direction, this will be the left, this will be the right. Second from the left is, this is first left, this is second left. So A will be here, and he likes Allen Solly, which is AS. Alright, let us look at only the straight statements so that we can directly arrange them. D sits third to the left of one who likes arrow, but who likes arrow, we did not know that as of now. And B sits third to left of G, but where to mark G? And E doesn't sit at extreme end. So if you move down the line, you can find that B sits fourth from left end of C. B sits fourth from the left end. So this is the left end, this is the right end. So B sits fourth from the left end, which means this is first left, second left, third left, fourth left. So B must come here. Alright, so the position of B is here, and it is also given that either D or B, right, either D or B sits at the extreme end of the row. Okay, so either B or D, but here we figured it out that B doesn't sit at any of the extreme ends, so it must be D who can sit at any of the extreme ends. It can be at extreme right, or D can also sit at extreme left. We do not know that as of now. Since we've marked B, arranged B, let us find out, is there any statement which is interlinked with B? See, here it is given that B sits third to the left of G. Alright, B sits third to the left of G. If B is to the third to the left of G, then G must be here, right? G must be here. Then this will be the first left of G, this is the second left of G, and this will be the third left of G in which B sits, right? That is the B's position. Okay, so B sits third to the left of G, who likes parks. Okay, so this who refers to G. Alright, I explained this about who and some other rules in the first session. So who refers to G, so G likes parks, so let us mark it. Now it is given that D sits third to the left of one who likes arrow. D sits third to the left. So if D should come to the left, if D must be arranged to the left of something, then it shouldn't be at right, right? So we know that the only two places that D can take is either extreme right or extreme left. So now extreme right is not possible, because if we mark D here, what happens is D will definitely be to the right side of each and every friend. But here D sits third to the left of one who likes arrow. So D shouldn't be at right, D must be only at extreme left. And we also know that D sits third to the left of one who likes arrow, which means B likes arrow. That is the reason why D sits third to the left of B. This is first left, this is second left, and this is third left of B. Alright, hope it's clear now. So what is the next statement? The one who likes Raymond sits second to the left of F. So the one who likes Raymond sits second to the left of F. So if we place F here, then second to the left, this is the first left of F and this is the second left of F, and this guy who comes at this place likes Raymond. So we shall place this under a block. Why? Because the places of F and this guy are not interchangeable, right? They are fixed. So let us block it. So what is the next statement? If we move on, E doesn't sit at any of the extreme ends of the line. So since we know D takes the extreme left, so D shouldn't take extreme right, and now it is also clear that E shouldn't take extreme right as well. Alright. Okay, so we are done with this statement. And okay, so the next statement is one of the immediate neighbors of B likes Louis Philippe. So one of the immediate neighbors of B. So here we have two immediate neighbors of B. One is to the left of B and one is to the right of B. So immediate neighbor can be anyone, which means if B is here and the guy who is to the immediate right or immediate left likes this brand, right? LP. So let us denote this in a novel, because it can be anything. It can be LPB or it can be B and LP. It can be anything. So the places are interchangeable. And now F doesn't like Louis Philippe. So F doesn't like Louis Philippe, which means F doesn't come here. F also doesn't come here, right? F is not an immediate neighbor of B. And also if you observe this, okay, so what is the next statement? The one who likes Peter England sits second to the right of the one who likes Van Heusen. Alright, so the one who likes Peter England, sits second to the right of the one who likes Van Heusen. So if this guy likes Van Heusen, then the guy who likes Peter England sits to the second right. This is first right and this is second right. Alright, so this is a fixed arrangement, so let us block it. Okay, and C likes Peter England, so C likes Peter England, and F doesn't like Louis Philippe. F doesn't like Louis Philippe, so let us mark it as F doesn't take Louis Philippe, and this is a fixed arrangement, so let us block it. Now if we get back to the basic rule which is mentioned here, no two successive friends are sitting together according to the alphabetical order, which means A is here, B shouldn't be here, right? Of course B is not here. Since B is here, C shouldn't come here, C shouldn't come here as well, right? Since G is here, F shouldn't come here, F shouldn't come here as well. And since G is here, H also shouldn't come here, because G and H are successive alphabets, and F and G are also successive alphabets, right? So neither F nor neither F nor H shouldn't take part in these two places, that is to the immediate left or immediate right of G. Alright, so F shouldn't come here, F shouldn't come here. So the only two places for F are this one and this one. But if you observe, F shouldn't be see, the neighbor of B doesn't like Luis Felipe, and F also doesn't like Luis Felipe. But first let us mark the places 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here the only two possible cases where we can place F is either 5th place or at 3rd place, right? Either 5th place or 3rd place. But if we place F at 5th place, we cannot arrange this one. Why? Because it is space and F. The first guy who comes here likes Raymond, right? He likes Raymond, and this guy is this guy likes Arrow, which is B, and this must be F, and this must forcefully like Luis Felipe, which violates the statement because F doesn't like Luis Felipe. So F cannot be in place in position number 5. So the only position which is left for F is position number 3. So if F is at 3, then this is possible. Space and F, which means this is the guy who takes Raymond. So D likes Raymond, and the second space is for A, and this is F. Alright, so we are taken care of this arrangement. Alright, so B has got two neighbors, one is the 3rd one and one is the guy who is sitting at the 5th one. We know F doesn't take Luis Felipe, so the other guy who is at 5th position must take Luis Felipe. And we already know that the guy who likes Peter England, who is C likes Peter England, and he is to the second right of the guy who likes Van Heusen. Let us arrange this now. Now F cannot take Van Heusen. Because if F takes Van Heusen, then B takes Arrow, but at position number 5 it must be Peter England, right? It must be C who likes Peter England, but this guy likes Luis Felipe. So F cannot take Van Heusen. F cannot take Van Heusen must come at position number 6. Why? Because position number 5 is already filled with the guy who takes Luis Felipe. So position 6 is left. So if the guy who comes at position number 6 takes Van Heusen, right, then the next guy takes Parks, and the last guy takes Peter England, right? This guy takes Peter England, and this is C. And now we are only left with two more alphabet, which is H and what is the other one? H and E. Okay, H and E. So we must fill them in 5th and 6th positions. We cannot place H at 6th position and E at 5th position because G and H are successive alphabets, right? So we must alter the positions. So H will be at 5th position and E will be at 6th position. And the only brand which is left is for F. And what is the only brand which is left? I think it's Park Avenue, right? Yeah, it's Park Avenue. So F takes Park Avenue. See, this is the set. These types of sets are very common in IIFT and in NMAT exams, right? In these two exams, this type of sets are very, very common. So kindly solve the assignment that is provided in the description below, and just click on the link and you will be redirected to after signing up you can enroll for free of cost. And what you have to do is you have to attempt those sets, LRDI sets, and finish it off before I upload the next video of LRDI. Alright, so thank you and all the very best. If you like the video, if this helped you, then you can click on the like button, and you can also subscribe if you have not yet subscribed to our channel. Thank you very much and all the very best.